Welcome to Elliott's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliott's PT podcast by Renae Elliott. Hello, and how are we all today? I wanted to come on. It is an interesting time for everybody at the moment. I wanted to come on and give some tips. I've been wanting to do this before my current situation, but as we are in a situation now where we are still waiting on test results to see if Lee has tested positive for the virus. So it seems even more appropriate to talk about the situation and everything at the moment. So with the rising cases of the coronavirus around the coast and everywhere else, it is not unusual to feel quite anxious. About everything that's happening. So I thought it would be helpful to give you some tips on things that you could do about helping manage that anxiety. So whether if you are feeling worried about being in contact with somebody that maybe have the virus, if you're worried about contracting it, or if you have contracted it, and how you are feeling about that and managing it. So I always feel knowledge is power, and we all look at things from a different perspective. So maybe my perspective could help you out if you were feeling anxious about something. So from my point of view, we have, Lee started feeling unwell yesterday, and he first thought it was because he'd had a bit to drink on the weekend, so didn't go much into it because he'd been on a medication and the medication had said not to drink, and he did. Well, the medication had ended, but there was a kind of like a crossover, so he thought it was that. And then he started feeling symptoms. So as soon as he thought that he did that, we separated the house. So we have our house divided. We have a way that our house can be blocked off, so it's blocked off just here. So he is at the front of the house, he's in the bedroom, and we are at the back of the house. There's a spare room, so I'm in the spare room. So we still haven't had a test result, so he may be negative, we don't know. But that was our action plan that we had taken from the standpoint. And obviously we are staying at home until we get a result and we know where we are at. So the kids are FaceTiming him to say hello and to speak to him. And so that's where things are at. I leave some food at the door and he grabs it and takes it in. Obviously I disinfected everything in the house, that's that. Anyway, we still don't even know if he's positive, but that is our position here at the moment. So regardless of what situation, that's my situation, and of where we are at now. The kids understand it. They understand why, they're a bit frustrated, but I have on the thought process is that I want to make it fun for them. I want to make it I don't want to make it fearful, I want to make it fun. So I'm like, what things can I do that is going to be fun for them so that they're not in fear of worrying about this. So at the moment I can see them from where I'm sitting. They are jumping off for trampoline into the pool. So they're doing that. Obviously me and the kids have no symptoms at all. We feel totally fine. We feel great. And after I've done this, which is something I don't do, I know some parents do, but I don't do, but I'm going to let them build like a fortress and cubby house stuffs. Is something that I never do, so they will find that amazing, but I won't. But anyway, so I'm choosing to try to make it. I was trying to think last night, how can I make it fun for them? How can I make things a bit different for them to keep them not frustrated at my kids don't mind staying home, but not being frustrated at not having to leave the house, and to make it a bit more of an exciting time instead of feeling worried or feeling upset that dad could be sick, because I have my son is quite anxious he has an anxious personality, so Cooper does tend to worry about a lot of things. So I need to make sure I'm on top of that, because I know what his personality is like. So anyway, that is my situation. But I do have some tips here to help you if you are feeling anxious. Me personally, I feel like that I know it's worrying with the like there's more cases and it's more around now, but my fear, this is just my opinion, is that we can all do as much as we can possible, but we probably maybe can't avoid it. So if you get it, then it is what it is, and you've just got to make the best of it. And maybe that if it means that you get it, then that means that, I know you might be able to get it twice, but if you get it, then you've got it, and just move on. Do the best to look after your health. And it always validates my why, and my reason is, my why is to stay as fit and strong and active as I can. So no matter what happens to me in life, no matter what I get hit with, I feel that the stronger, the fitter I am, I will be able to cope better with all of those things. So that is my outlook on the whole situation. Okay, so here is some helpful tips to help you manage your anxiety around the virus and what is going on for us here on the Sunny Coast. Okay, so first thing is validate your emotions. So if you are feeling, confusion, anxiety, fear, worry, anger, just to name a few, validate them. Validate that you're feeling that way, and let them pass. Learn to sit with them. It's really normal to feel, that's why I did want to come and talk to people, because I wanted to let you know it is normal to feel anxious or worried, especially with, this has been going on for a while, it's in the news and whatever else. The virus has been, around for 2 years or so. So learn to sit with them. You can name your emotions without needing to respond to them. Sometimes when you try not to feel that way, or you try not to think about it, it just heightens it up even more. So I think sometimes, I really am a big fan of journaling, and sometimes it's good just to get those emotions out on paper, and that's there, and sit with them, and it's okay to feel that way. You also try to describe how you're feeling and express what might be helpful to let these emotions pass. So just I think accepting that you might feel that way, validating it, writing it down. I'm a big fan of writing things down, but even writing it down and speaking it out loud, because sometimes when you speak something out loud, you're giving it less power, and you realize how silly it might sound, or how you've maybe put things together and all of that. So just validate it and let them pass. My tip number 2 is to try to see things clearly. When we are coming from fear, and there are some of us who fear contracting COVID-19, and it can make it really hard to see things clearly, and you get stuck in a pattern of worry. And when those worries feel totally out of control, you tend to feel worse. So try to check in with your thoughts and ask yourself all the time, is how you're thinking about this situation, is that helping you, or is that being unhelpful? So try to think about it in that way. Just it's trying to notice your feelings and emotions, and really think about, are they helping you? If I think back to when we first had the lockdown, there was quite a lot of fear with everybody, and there was fear in going outside and all of that stuff, and we just want to try to validate our feelings and try to think clearly on them. Okay, my tip number 3 is to channel your anxious energy into action. Okay, so make sure that if you are feeling worried about what might happen, if you're feeling worried about that, get informed and plan and prepare. So have a plan into place as to what you would do if this happened, or different situations that would suit your family. Often when we're feeling anxious and we're feeling out of control and we think we don't have the capacity or the skills to cope, it just fuels it all. It fuels it all, and it makes it bigger and bigger than what it needs to be. And anxiety does tend to trick us into thinking about the worst case scenario. So it always tricks us into that. So instead of worrying, try best to focus on what are the things you can control. So equip yourself with the facts from trusted sources. And I always recommend, and I've done this and I say it to other people, to do I like to write things down, but I do things on a piece of paper, write down the things I can control and the things I can't. So obviously the things you can't control, it's not worth wasting your energy on them. That you can't control them, accept that and move on. The things you can control, then you could be looking at that and you can take control of the things that you can do. And that does tend to alleviate some anxiety. So tip number 4 is limit or avoid unhelpful media or misinformation. So I made this decision a long time ago. So to kind of not watch TV or be get consumed with it. I think it's important to stay informed, and you can check the TV check the news once a week or something like that. It's up to you on how you feel. But when we're exposed to the constant alarming anxiety inducing stories that the media tend to create, they're convincing us that there's something more to panic about, and for further perpetuates the myths, the rumors, or the misinformation, the anxiety and the uncertainty. So the more that you read or you hear about it, the more frightening it becomes, and the less chance we have to distract ourselves and do the things to take our minds off it. So think of something that you feel comfortable with. But if you're maybe watching the news every night, I know when, again, going back to the first lot lockdown or that we happened, whenever that was 220, when that happened, like you were watching the news all the time, what's going on. And then I thought, I can't do this anymore. It's just, so I've just stopped. You need to check in, find the information, find what's valid for me, what I need to know about for my kids, for my family, for my business, what I need to know for that. And then I don't need to know anything else. So stay informed with the things you need to, but try not to be watching it and all that all the time, because it just doesn't help, and it just feeds the anxiety more, especially if you have an anxious personality. So my tip number 5 is cut down or stop the behaviors that are fueling your anxiety. So there are certain actions, when performed frequently, that can fuel your anxiety about health and germophobia or anything like that. So focusing too much on bodily symptoms or relying on Dr. Google can consume one with anxious thoughts. So quite a long time ago, my husband has an autoimmune disease. So he has an autoimmune disease, and he was feeling, he thought, so part of his disease was that he gets, you have an attack. And so he has never had an attack, but he was waiting on this attack. And this one day he was grey. He looked really, really sick, and I thought, and he came to me and he said, Cooper was only little, and he said, I can't cope with him this morning. I can't do anything. You need to take him. I was working. You need to take him. I'm really, really sick. I was like, okay. And I looked at him and I thought, oh my God, he's really sick. Just his grey face and everything. He looked about 100, and he said all that, and he got an emergency appointment with his specialist. So he did all that, and so he went to the specialist, and I really did think, I thought he was really sick. I thought he was really sick. This was it, because we've been waiting for this attack to happen. And he went to his specialist, and there was nothing wrong. But the anxiety and the worry about everything had just overcome him, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess I got to see it in real life, and he thought he was sick. He felt that way. It had made him feel that way, and I really thought he was too. So it is does overpower you. I think as people who have anxious personalities know, but just try to think of the things that perpetuate it and should make it worse, and we want to try to stop them. So if you can be aware of some behaviors that you do personally, or understanding that they're making you, how they're making you feel, and that they are, that there are lots of coping strategies out there that are going to help you with that anxiety. But it's thinking about the things that make you feeling worse, and they're fueling it more. And so definitely, definitely Dr. Google isn't always the best thing to be relying on in those situations. So definitely try to cut down or stop the behaviors that are fueling your anxiety. So just try to think what does make it worse for you. There's no right or wrong, it's just what makes it worse for your personality. Tip. So you want to, tip number 6 is to stay focused on the here and now, and take each day step by step. So, focusing on looking into the past or looking into the future can just fuel any anxiety and those things that we have. So try to just live in the moment. So this is my situation right now. Don't think, what could happen to me in a year's time or 2 years' time. That's not going to help. What happened to me previously, all of that stuff isn't going to help. Think about now. This is the situation you're in today, and only focus on that. And that will definitely help you in, when we start thinking about things that we don't even know are going to happen or any of that stuff, it just fuels it all, and it makes us feel so much more anxious. Tip number 7 is be aware of negative thoughts and don't give them much power. Okay, so just because we are thinking something, it doesn't always mean it's true. So if you are someone that tends to lean more to, you have more of a negative, half-empty personality, that's fine, but just know that your brain is wired to keep you safe. So it's always trying to keep you safe. So if you're always one to lean more towards that half-empty situation, then your brain is always going to tend to want to go that way. It doesn't mean that that's right. It just means that that's what's familiar to it. So when we are in a situation that you are feeling anxious, it's overwhelming, it's all around us, we have to wear masks, you have to check into places and can't do this, it can't do that, there's guidelines, there's rules. It does tend to fuel that anxiety. So, but just if you are having those negative thoughts, start to become aware of them. And just always remember that your brain is wired to keep you safe, and whatever is familiar is what it wants to keep you safe with. So doesn't mean it's right or wrong, it just means it's what it's used to. So you could be, you can just say thank you, remind your brain that, or remind your thoughts that it's okay, you don't need to think that anymore, and you were trying a new way of thinking. And it does take time, because if you think of a path, there's our neuroplasticity and all of that, and there is our pathways, and there is scientific research to prove that you can change your patterns of thought, but it's just, you think of a road that's well traveled, and we just have to create that new path. So when you do start to notice yourself worrying a lot, try to take a step back and try to let the worries pass without focusing on them too much. All right. So tip number 8, which I feel is one of the most important ones, is really look after your body. It all fuels into each other. If you are someone that has an anxious personality, or even if it's not only for people with anxious personalities, because it can make us all feel anxious. But exercise is so important. It helps you It helps you with everything. So try to move and keep moving and keep the routine up. So whether you just do something for 5 minutes, it's better than nothing. So 5 minutes of movement is going to it will start to clear your head, honestly. So whether it's doing a class, whether it is getting outside and walking, whether it's just like, I'm going to ask Renae for a quick, I've got videos of 5-minute fitness and I can send you them. So if you want to try something like that, message me, because I can send them to you, and you could just do a quick 5-minute workout, and it honestly, it does help. But it all falls into each other. So getting enough sleep, exercising, eating well, avoiding drugs and alcohol. So I know it's nice to have a drink, and I know that when people feel anxious or stressed, they tend to feel that the alcohol is a good way to relieve that stress. But sometimes think about that, we have the ups and downs from that, and sometimes we have that little bit of up, but then we have a real crash, especially with alcohol. So just think about those things. And I see it happen all the time with people. I see people, they drop their exercise, they they stop eating as well, and it's, they just then start feeling crappier about themselves. The sleep can come and go, and it just ends up being a cycle, and you end up just feeling worse and worse. So really go, okay, this is there is lots of stuff going on here, but I'm going to try to really look after myself and be on the ball here. So I'm going to be as good as I can with my food. I'm going to be as good as I can with my food. I am going to, make sure, prioritize my sleep. I'm going to look at stress management. So like, what things stress me out? What can I control? What can I not control? How can I look at de-stressing? Exercise, walking, meditations, writing it out. There's so many things, going to the beach, so many things that you can do to manage your stress. But start, obviously, if you're not in lockdown, you can go to the beach. If you can't, but you got to look at all these things and stay on top of it, so it can really help you and help protect your mental health and your immune system, especially at this time. So I feel like that's something you can control. You can control all of that stuff. You can control the food you're putting in your mouth. You can control your sleep. You control your water, all of those things, and that will help alleviate all the other things. So when we're exercising, we always feel better. I don't know anyone that's not done a workout and didn't feel good for it and didn't say, oh, I wish I never did that. I only know people that go, oh, I'm so glad I did that, even though I couldn't be bothered. But just remember, 5 minutes is better than nothing. So do something better. Something is better than nothing. If you are sick, obviously, just listen to your body. Don't exercise if you're not well. But if you are fine. So my tip number 9 is stay connected with others. So talk about how you're feeling. It's normal. You are normal to feel anxious or worried or concerned. Don't hide it in or hold it in, because that feeds the fear more. Holding it in secrecy is like the worst thing that you can do. Get it out, be open about it. There is nothing to be ashamed about. Talk to more people, because it will help you, and it will probably help others, because I think lots of people are feeling the same way, but maybe they're scared to admit it. And you could be the first person to talk about it to a friend, to a family member, to somebody in the classes. Just talk about it. Don't hold it in. It will only fester more and feed inside of you. So get those feelings out. And if you don't want to feel like just find someone that you feel supported by, and you feel you can talk to. But if you feel like you can't do that, it is really good to write stuff out. So write stuff out, or do you know what? You could talk on your voice thing on your phone. You could just talk it out, or just talk to yourself. But writing it out is great. So make sure you do stay connected with others. It can really make a huge difference. It makes a huge difference when you share. And the last thing is take a breath. This is tip number 10. Take a breath when you are feeling overwhelmed. Take a few slow breaths to calm you down. Now, there's lots of different breathing techniques. There's the box breathing that you can do. The breathe it in, hold, breathe for 3 or 4 or 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5. I think that's called triangle breathing. With my kids, I do different things like blowing out the candles on my hand. we do things like they've got to breathe in orange, or their favorite color. So Cooper's favorite color is orange, and Charlie's is pink, so he'll breathe in orange and he'll breathe out his worries. But just taking that time to really slow down your breathing is one of the best things you can do, and it's a few minutes. Now I have a 5-minute meditation for anxiety. So if that's something that you would like, you could do. I know somebody that I gave it to her, and she had it at work. She was having a really stressful time during her work, and she just went into the cubicle and she just listened to that for a few minutes with her headphones for 5 minutes, and it just calmed her down. So I have that. So if you want one of them, please message me and I will send it to you. Okay, so they are my tips on how to deal with if you're feeling a bit anxious or worried at these times. Hopefully it has been helpful for some of you. If you want any of those 5-minute fitness videos or the 5-minute meditation, please message me and I will send them to you. All right. Make sure you comment and let me know if it has helped you, or if you have any questions about anything I've spoken about. Okay, I will speak to you all very soon. Okay, bye. Thanks for listening to the Elliott's PT podcast. I hope you have been able to find this information of use to you. If you know someone who might enjoy this podcast, please share it with them. And ensure that you subscribe so you can be the first to know when new podcasts are released. If you have the time to leave a 5-star review, that would be amazing, and it would be greatly appreciated. If you do so, please screenshot and share onto any of our socials and tag us. Then email the screenshot to hello@elliotspt.com and we will send you a free gift to your inbox. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day. Speak soon.